Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology, basically just opinions and bias.
What? No, we are nothing but pure fact, cold, clear, no emotion. We are totally not in any way.
Fly by the seat of our pants for 85 episodes.
Wow.
I know. Today's episode is recorded on June 6th, 2018. I am Clyde. Today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hello.
Jimmy Trammell.
Good evening.
And Michael Aston.
Howdy, everybody.
Or should I just call you Mickey? Mickey Aston.
Mickey, yeah sure. No
Mickey Aston.
Whatever. Probably won't recognize that you're talking to me, but whatever.
It's a good idea. Just when he does that, just ignore him and just keep going.
So how you guys doing?
Can I? Summer break doesn't start for me for another 2 weeks or week and a half.
Really?
I can't wait till it starts.
My kids are off tomorrow. Tomorrow's their last day.
Yep. 2 more days here.
No, I don't know why we started so late. Well, oh well.
Yeah, and things in Florida are doing fine. We had our afternoon rain as usual this time of year.
Yeah, I think it's like you're like, okay, at 3:15 you're gonna have your downpour, and by downpour I don't mean like a little bit of rain. I mean it's rushing down for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then it all clears up again. That's how it works down there, right?
Yep, pretty much. You nailed it.
It's funny because a friend of mine was posting on Facebook earlier that driving home from her mother's house, there were trees falling down and transformers exploding in the area of Florida that she's in. So they must have been getting hit by some crazy storm. Glad to see it didn't affect you.
Yeah, no, we have power.
All right.
Underground utilities is great.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever been to Florida, it's the strangest thing ever. That land is so flat. It's amazing. There's no mountains anywhere. It's like no contour to any kind of.
You just described pretty much all of the Midwest.
I don't know. It's
except
crazy.
We have trees and no alligators.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite the adjustment, because before Florida, I lived in California, right? Mm-hmm. And to go from California to Florida was quite an adjustment, seeing the mountains and the hills up there, and then nothing here.
And they replaced the mountains and the hills with mountains and hills worth of humidity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, humidity, actually in South, when you live close to the water, the humidity is not so bad.
It's not so bad when you're close to the water, but yeah, you get towards that middle of that state. And
oh, yeah. You go to Orlando, forget it. Yeah.
I can't figure out why Walt Disney thought that Orlando was like, they want to double down on Disneyland. Let's put it in Orlando.
Well, you understand. It was on the other side of the United States, and it was cheap land, all very cheap orange fields. So, swamp land.
But that's sorry. I forgot because Disney only builds where they can decimate orange groves. Because Anaheim used to be all orange groves until Disney ruined it.
Okay, secret plan. He's trying to destroy all oranges.
Yeah, I think he might. He might. He probably had some money invested in Orange Futures or something like that.
The official Disney representative here. I must protest. He has no ill will to the oranges. Just kidding. I do have a Mickey Mouse shirt on though, so
that's fine. we'll make sure that you're representing Disney for the rest of this conversation today. That's fine.
All right. So yeah, next time anything comes up Disney related,
We'll turn to Michael and say, Michael, can you give us a comment from Disney?
M Beam says Orange is the new Disney. Basically. All right. Hey, with that, why don't we get into some news? What's going on?
I'm going to start with a story about Google doing a cool little thing for their YouTube original. They actually have a very cool new series called Impulse, which is a new sci-fi series that they've got coming out. They've decided that for a little while, now you can get there normally, but for a little while, the only way you could see the first episode was if you use your Google Assistant to ask about it, and the Google Assistant would ask you for a secret password, and you could probably figure that out pretty easily, and then it would give you a link to where you could watch the first episode for free online. Kind of cool little promotion they did at this. Now it's available anywhere. Anybody can watch that first episode. But they gave the first dibs to those people with Google Homes and willing to look for it.
I might have to check that out. But
have you seen the trailer for it?
No, I haven't.
I watched it for the first time today. Kind of has a Stranger Things feeling to it a little bit. Don't understand what's going on. Somebody with weird powers happening in a young age, not as young as Stranger Things, but in a young environment, and also not set in the 80s. So, but it does feel like that kind of sci-fi movie where you don't understand what's going on, and so you have to figure it out as you go. So.
Oh, this is based on Jumper.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Have you seen? Do you know that story?
Yeah.
Oh.
The movie was pretty cool. I mean, it wasn't phenomenal or anything, but I enjoyed it.
Was okay. Yeah.
I liked it. So
you gotta have YouTube Premium to get this. Do you also get YouTube Red if you subscribe to that?
Yeah, YouTube Red is being renamed for YouTube Premium. Yes, I know it's very confusing.
And it says it'll cost $11.99 for new users, but it's not yet available for subscribers who sign up for YouTube Red. Oh, it says it's not yet. Oh, sorry, it's not yet available. So subscribers who sign up for YouTube Red now can get grandfathered into the $9.99 plan. So if you're interested in this and you're not a YouTube Red subscriber, sign up now.
Yeah, you can watch
a couple bucks.
2 decent shows on it. Looks like this one's one of them, and definitely check out Cobra Kai.
Oh, and you definitely need to watch Ryan Hansen Solves Crimes on TV. That is one of the greatest shows. I talked about it like a couple months ago.
Cool.
Absolutely, that was one of the first YouTube Red things I ever watched, and it blew me away. It is so funny and self-referential. That's the one that they keep saying, "What network is this for?" And he say, "Oh, this is YouTube Red." And they go, "The porn site?" It had that joke over and over. But it's real actors playing themselves, and he's partnered up with Samira Wiley from Orange is the New Black, ironically. But yeah,
very cool.
Cool.
Moving on, we have a story about Hulu. Hulu has announced that they have reached the number of subscribers for their Hulu Live service, not to be confused with the regular Hulu service, of a grand total of 800,000 subscribers. This is a huge upgrade from when they last announced it. Actually, I believe it was, I don't remember when it was, but it was less than a year ago that they announced that they had about 400,000. So they've basically doubled in less than a year how much subscribers they have. And I'm certain we're going to be seeing more numbers like this as we go along from the other providers as well. So it's definitely growing.
Yeah. And I find it funny because I was reading this article right after I read an article about how Sony is considering PlayStation Vue an absolute failure. I don't know if you saw that. I mean, they've got like 1 million subscribers, but they're not anywhere near where they think they should be, and they're hemorrhaging tons of money. And I think YouTube, or I would say Hulu TV or Hulu Live is it's an up and comer, and it's finally getting to where it should be.
So
big disadvantage. I'm still a subscriber and like it. I mean, I think that was the one that I stuck with, of the live TV subscriptions that you could try. I tried that one, liked it, and that's the one that stuck with me, at least so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the challenging things that a company like PlayStation Vue has, and like Sling TV. Now, Sling TV has managed to overcome that. They've done rather well, but is that they don't have an existing user base, right? Like YouTube has YouTube users, and even YouTube Red users, and Hulu had its own set of users already. So a company like PlayStation Vue is fighting a little bit more of an uphill battle, where Hulu, it's just this value-added feature that you can tack on your already existing service. You've got to subscribe to PlayStation Vue for this. And they also don't have any original content, which is the leg up that like Hulu and Netflix and YouTube and Amazon Prime that all have, is the original content that makes you use them specifically.
But the mistake there is comparing PS Vue to regular Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Netflix. They are not the same. The comparison would be with Sling TV and with Hulu TV or Hulu Live. Because in that's what they're looking at when they're talking about it being a failure. It's not Netflix and that, because that's not what they're competing with. That's not their demographic.
I get that, but the point that I'm making is that while if you compare it to Sling, that's a direct, fair comparison, and
that's what the article was, and that's what the article was comparing them to, is because Sling's doing so much better than PlayStation Vue, and I mean PlayStation Vue keeps dropping stations and upping prices to get other stations, and they just can't get the traction they want.
Sling has the other advantage of being able to piggyback on Dish Network a little bit. Dish Network has done a lot to promote Sling, and I think that if you look at the growth that Sling TV has had over the last year since Dish Network acquired it, you see that that a lot of that growth happened in that last year, where they were providing deals and making it work, marketing directly to their existing customer base and stuff like that. So I think that PlayStation Vue is kind of failing, but it makes sense to me why it's failing, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
While they may not be comparing it to those other companies are viable competition, especially Hulu and YouTube, because they both offer a live TV service, but there's more to it.
Mm-hmm. Right? PlayStation Vue is the problem I see with PlayStation Vue is that, first of all, I don't see any advertisements for it. Second of all, we know there's some brand confusion because people think it has to be used on the PlayStation if they know it's even a television solution, because it doesn't say anything about TV in there. And so it's...
and they spell Vue wrong.
I
hate that spelling.
One of the interesting things to me is PlayStation Vue, in my opinion, is far superior to Sling TV for just a way to consume TV. Using them both, I really like PlayStation Vue's interface and quality and stuff, and I got the same compared to every other service that we used. However, their continual increase in pricing without adding any real value was what made me leave in the first place. I mean, it was always going up. I never knew how much I was going to get billed because my bill kept slowly going up. Now, they always announce the price months in advance, but by the time my price increased, they'd already announced the next increase. And so it was like, I never really knew. And that was my frustrating thing. And when football season was over, there was no reason to keep paying for it, so I canceled. And I probably won't go back to them. I'll probably go to another service that I feel is going to be more consistent with price. And even if their features are not necessarily as good, if the price at least doesn't change every 3 months, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will clarify that, like, in that article, From a market standpoint, PlayStation Vue is doing really good.
Mhm.
It was Sony that keeps going, no, it's not good. It's really bad. And everybody's like, hey, no, you guys are like, basically neck and neck for number one. They're like, no, this is a failure. So they haven't said they're going to shut it down anytime soon, but that might be a
I wonder
possibility.
if they are in the mindset of, oh, we wanted to get everybody who has a PlayStation to be in this market, and so we think we should like get a 2-to-1 ratio of PlayStation owners having this thing on there, and maybe that they're not seeing that. That's why they think it's a failure, because there's so many PlayStation 4 and 3 owners out there, but they don't have. They're not seeing the same numbers for the PlayStation Vue, which maybe that's where they're doing their vast amount of advertising. I don't know.
Well, I mean, to me, when I look at these services, right, when you look at like Netflix, Netflix, is the place where you have, it started off being, streaming movies and older TV shows and that kind of thing. Then they got into the original content, and and they really kind of have a real good service going now. It's sorry guys, there's a bug on my glasses here.
Yeah.
But and then Hulu was always a complement to Netflix in that in Hulu you'd see the older shows to where Hulu would be the more current shows, and you'd have the same type of video on demand type service, right? And and with like DirecTV and PlayStation Vue, it's basically just cable on the internet is what it is, right? You don't really get the video on demand catalog like what you get with Hulu and Netflix. And for me, that's the difference, because that's how I like to watch television. I like the video on demand catalog, and I subscribe to Hulu Live for the on occasion I might want to watch something live, right? But ordinarily how I consume television is the video on demand catalog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and on that note, I think we should jump ahead to a different story in the fact that DirecTV, the other player in here has been DirecTV, and up till recently, the thing that was really everybody was complaining about was that they don't have their cloud DVR. Well,
you basically said it, Clyde. You might as well finish. DirecTV Now's cloud DVR is now on Roku. So if you've got a Roku device, a compatible one, you can now download the new version of DirecTV's 2.0 app, and the cloud DVR is now part of the functionality.
And and they still found a way to screw it up.
Oh, what did they do this time?
I found out about it yesterday because my mom called me and said, "Hey, DirecTV's not working," and somehow my account, when it updated the new version, it reset my password to something that I had like 3 password changes ago. I have no idea how that worked. It won't let me, and the worst part is I can't fix it. I can't change my password because my old password is in violation of their password standard because of unacceptable characters. And so it will not let me type that password in when you have to type in your current password to change it.
Oh.
So now I'm stuck with this password that is in violation. I can't change it. But I do have the DVR, right?
I don't
Sort
know.
of. It clearly says it's in beta.
No.
And when you try to add stuff, it says, "Oh, sorry." Oh, you go through, and nice thing is it says, "Do you want all episodes or new episodes?" Which is the one complaint I had about YouTube TV is you don't have a choice. You just get whatever. Same thing with PlayStation Vue and some of the other ones. This one lets you choose all or new. And then once you go through all that, then it thinks about it and it says, "Oh yeah, you can't add this show right now." Oh, okay, what shows can I add? I guess you just have to trial and error, go through all the steps, and then it says, "Oh no, this is still in beta. This show is can't." And I don't know if it's because there aren't upcoming episodes to schedule, which was something that you had to do with your TiVo. You couldn't add shows to the DVR if they didn't exist in the upcoming guide. But it doesn't tell you. So, I mean, we got a step in the right direction.
Right.
Does anybody else feel like all of these cloud DVRs that are coming out recently, and by all of these, I don't know if there's any other than this DirecTV one, that 100 hours in 90 days is kind of anemic? I mean... Well,
we talked about it, I think last week, right? That they are going to be giving you so DirecTV, you start out with 20 hours, is that right?
20 hours.
Yeah, and then if you pay for an extra $10, you get 100 hours or whatever. So you don't get that. So that's even less.
Yeah, and
if 100 hours isn't enough for you, then that 20's especially not. But
it seems like that $10 that 20 is in my opinion completely ridiculous. That's like one kid's show for a week. Second of all, it's $10 for 100 hours. Even what I would have complained incessantly about before, the crappy DVR that you get from your cable TV company that has 160 gig hard drive in it, when you can't even buy one of those anymore because it's so small, it held more than 100 hours. So 100 hours in 90 days, and you had no limit on that, and you pay $10 for that. It just seems like you're paying a lot and getting very little. And compared to PlayStation Vue, there's no limit to number of hours. Yes, it's a 30-day cycle, but unlimited. And that's why PlayStation Vue doesn't ask you, do you want new shows only? It's just because they record everything for every show.
I find that as the biggest downside. I would rather be restricted to 20 and only get new episodes than have unlimited and constantly have to wade through a bunch of crap I don't want to see.
Yeah.
And because then there's also the thing is, okay, I don't remember. Was this an episode that I've seen? Crap, okay, you start watching, you get halfway through and go, oh yeah, I've seen this. I just wasted.
PlayStation Vue does flag episodes if you've watched them.
Yeah, but it doesn't know the stuff that I've watched before I had the service, is the problem.
That's true. But and it also orders them in chronological order of release date generally, and it does pretty good of that. So if you are going in order, you know how to get there. I mean, I do agree. I understand why you might complain about it. I do feel like they do a pretty good job of alleviating those concerns. And to me, at least when I had a DVR that I used regularly, I always had that thing full, and I had more than 100 hours on it. I was always having to delete shows to keep it clear.
Yeah, well, Clyde is the kind of person who really wants to, okay, I have my DVR for one thing. He doesn't have a family member, basically putting in a, whatever, my son just walks in and says, I'm going to record every episode of Jeopardy. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, I think it's perfectly okay. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But, and that's the nice thing about having all these different services. You can go and say, hey, 20 hours, that's not enough for me. I'm going to look at a different service. Whereas me, I'm perfectly fine with the 20 hours if I get to choose only new episodes. Because when it's only new episodes, it's not recording that much stuff. Especially when most of the shows are, air in different times of the year. As long as I know they're going to get recorded, that's all I care about.
That's okay. The different services will have different things, and they'll have different amounts of. It's not okay. So it's okay. It's god dang it. It's got to be okay.
Everything should be exactly what I want.
Exactly.
And if it's not, I need to complain.
And when it's not exactly how he wants it, then they need to do it the way I want it. Which is not the way Mike wants it, or how Clyde wants it, or I don't know how I don't know how you want it, Jimmy, so it's okay.
Jimmy's just happy with his Hulu TV. That's
As
all.
long as
That's
it's
all
on
that
his
matters.
app, he doesn't care.
Yeah. Hulu does it for me. That's for sure. Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime.
All right, I'm gonna give us a little bit of international news for you guys. If you are a person who has access to the BBC iPlayer, you will probably are British or maybe just a fan of British of television, and you probably are very happy if you are a big fan of Doctor Who, because now something that was not on there. All the earlier episodes of the new release version of Doctor Who are now available since the 2005 version up to the most recent season, now available on the BBC iPlayer. Due to licensing struggles of how they were being distributed to other different places like Netflix and other things, the BBC actually did not have the rights to their own stuff, so they've somehow made it available to their users for the BBC iPlayer, now available for streaming just in time for a later in the year release of the new season.
Yeah, they were one of those early victims of the. Oh, what, you want to stream our stuff and you're going to give us money?
Sure.
Yeah, nobody's going to watch that. And then they realize, oh crap,
we don't own our own stuff.
No, we can't. Crap. Yeah,
lessons learned.
They're like the kid that is like, or the dude that sold the magic beans to Jack, and he's like, yeah, here, take these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock on. I guess you get to watch everything. Just skip over Capaldi, because
So now this is only for the BBC iPlayer is only available to residents of.
it is only available to people who support the BBC forcefully through taxation.
Yep.
Okay.
We are not one of those people, so we are technically not allowed to use it.
We threw their tea in the harbor. We don't have to play their BBC iPlayer.
Yeah, you got to be a citizen of the Commonwealth.
All right. Next story. It's a cool little hack that some people on Reddit found for if you are an Apple Music subscriber and you wanted to listen to your Apple Music, but you maybe didn't want to have to bring up iTunes on your device, there's a little backdoor way in where you can go ahead and go to a cool web-based interface that is normally used there for you to basically preview different songs that are on the web through the web on the iTunes player. But you go ahead and get in there, and as soon as you click on something to preview and hit pause, it pops up a thing saying, do you want to keep listening? You can just sign in with your Apple account with a valid Apple Music subscription, and you can listen to your Apple Music right on the web.
It sounds like something Apple's going to be fixing really quickly.
This is the kind of thing I really hope they don't. This is the kind of stuff that I would just like. I want to listen to my music. I'll just log onto this weird computer with my Google account, listen to my Google Play Music on the web browser, just have it blare out of this computer in the corner here. I love that kind of stuff where I don't have to install a big thing to.
Yeah. But I'm just saying because I don't think supposed to work that way, so I don't think Apple's going to allow it much longer now that it's gotten out. So enjoy it while you can. Yes. Enjoy it while
Jimmy,
you can.
would this sounds interesting to you? Would you be able to listen to your iTunes music subscription while on any computer with a web browser versus having to install iTunes and log in and all that?
Well, I subscribe to Apple Music, but but I rarely use my computer to listen to it. I'm usually either through my iPhone or now my HomePod,
Gotcha.
or my Apple TV, which is hooked up to a big home theater system, right? Okay. So to listen to it out of my computer, I have done it before. It's just that's not my first choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we also have some more Apple news. This week was WWDC, and there was lots of announcements for lots of things, but a couple of things for Apple TV. First thing we have is that Apple TV is getting the current version of Apple TV is getting support for Dolby Atmos, which means it will be having the new high-end standard for surround sound from Dolby, as long as you have the appropriate equipment hooked up to it. That is a cool little thing that they did to the system, to their Apple TV, but also they did the same deal that they did with the 4K upgrade, where if you had the old high def version, they would free upgrade to the 4K copy. Mm-hmm. Also, if you have a version that doesn't have a Dolby Atmos and there's a version with Dolby Atmos available, they will upgrade you for free to the new version.
Rock on.
Yeah.
I guess about time. I have to say that every single time they have an announcement, and I kind of don't like saying it anymore, but
yeah, I think they're the only one that has both of the top two standards, right?
I believe so, but they really pushed hard this Dolby Atmos feature in the presentation, like it was the thing. It was the thing.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like Apple and Adobe are getting chummy again, because they made a couple of appearances in the keynote.
Were they ever not chubby?
Yeah, for a little while they were not chummy because of the Flash thing. Remember when Steve Jobs wrote the letter about the Flash?
No, this is Dolby, not Adobe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I heard Dolby, and I know Dolby, but Adobe was
Dolby
was
Audio Atmos.
Was it? They were in the keynote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
it's the way
Adobe was because they had that. Well, Adobe has been kind of at odds with everybody because everybody is saying no Flash, and kind of. But I always figured Adobe would be happy about that because they wouldn't have to be forced. They created something that they were kind of stuck supporting, even if they didn't want to.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, but I think they kind of got a little hurt over. And I think they're still mad at Google for leading that charge. So,
yeah.
So one thing I didn't actually have a story for, but briefly they did also announce, is that they actually have support for third-party remotes as well that they announced for this. Which means if you hate the Apple remote, you now have other options.
Yep.
Cool. It's about
Thank you,
time.
Apple. Yeah, it's like you have to say. All right.
Yep.
One more story for Apple TV. They actually have a new project that they're working on. They've had one called Single Sign-On, which allowed you to log in with your satellite TV or cable credentials once in the Apple TV app, and then whenever you access a compatible service, it would automatically sign you in using your credentials.
So what's the new one? Is it double sign-on because 2 is better than 1?
Zero sign-on.
Wait.
What they are doing... They are literally making a deal with the providers, starting in the States with Charter Cable later this year, where as long as using their internet and their cable service, you will automatically detect that you are using your Apple TV on their internet and automatically give you the credentials for all the services right through the interface. Basically, as long as the conditions are right, you will be able to let you see all of your various television channels through it without any kind of sign-on required.
Yeah, I found this to be pretty interesting, right? I mean, it kind of tells you where the cable companies are starting to think about, right?
Pretty cool in concept, but Apple, make it a standard. I know you want do something.
Well, it's not Apple. It's not Apple. It's the cable companies.
No,
they have to get that approved through the cable company.
Oh, I agree, but I guarantee you, Apple will say no, Google or Amazon or Roku or whomever.
You can't use this.
That is not your feature. That's our feature.
Yeah.
We have all the.
It'll be FireWire all over again. And that's why I never used FireWire. I used IEE 1394 for years. That's right.
Yeah, I don't think this is a patent that they hold, right? I mean, So what this does, right, just to be clear, is that if you have internet service with Charter, and then your TV provider is also set to Charter, it will automatically log you into all the channels and apps, or channels that have apps, automatically, right? You don't have to log in another time, right? I don't think that there's a patent stopping anybody from doing the same thing on any other platform.
You know, I have just a feeling that that Apple would be patenting this and making special.
Well, they may not
exclusive
patent it,
deals.
but they may say, "Hey, let's do this, but you can't do it with anybody else."
I wouldn't worry about the patenting thing. This stuff is likely unpatentable because
that's what I.
Because it's not
It's
a piece of technology; it's an agreement between companies.
I'm sorry, it is the technology. It's the computer literally signing in for you, so you don't have to. God dang it! They give patents for all kinds of stupid software things. How do you think they don't do this? So
you can't. When it comes to software patents, you can't patent something that has become a general practice. And so, since there are multiple SSOs that are already in existence, you can't patent it. So it's one of the tricky things with software patents. They're actually pretty difficult to get a lot of times because you have to be able to prove the novelty of the approach. And since there's like about 6 billion open source software packages out there that do SSO type functionality, for example, Google, Twitter, and Facebook all offer SSO-like OAuth functionality, and that's similar to what this is. The only difference is that they're identifying your network in the process.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see more of these type services come together like this, right? I think the cable companies are finally starting to realize that they're in trouble and they got to shift the paradigm from what they've had. I think this is just another step in that direction.
Yeah. So I mean, what this is more akin to something like DLNA, where it was a group of people that got together and said, "Hey, we agree to do this thing that is mutually beneficial."
Mm-hmm.
But, like, to your point, I do believe that Apple will try to keep it exclusive as opposed to being all-inclusive like other things. So, and I agree with you. So they may say, yes, we're getting together, we've got agreements, this is what we're going to do so that it's easy, but, oh yeah, you guys, you're not allowed to participate. And you can try and do your own thing, but good luck getting everybody else on board, because they're already doing this. They're not going to want to do 2 or 3 different ways. So, yeah, that's where I share the fear. If it doesn't happen, awesome, but I'm not hopeful.
If they come out and say, "Hey, this is a new standard we're submitting for review and for people to look at," and becomes an open standard, awesome sauce. Otherwise, I expect it. That's what I expect from them.
I find it highly improbable that they make it a standard just because of the behaviors that they've shown in the past. I'm not sure they've ever, and I'm sure this isn't true, but I can't imagine that they've ever actually turned anything into a standard because they want it to be their own proprietary things. And they even don't like to use existing standards.
Well, they do for a while until they find out that their standards are open and their competition can use them. OpenGL being let go this week. Now they use only Metal.
Does Apple secretly wish they were French? Because this is exactly the whole French thing with the internet, where they refuse. They want all the words to be changed because they're mostly English, because Americans created most of the technology, and they hate that.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, and I think there's only one more story in my rundown here today, which is Netflix is making a new series based on the songs by Dolly Parton, starring Dolly Parton. I just saw this and I said, "Yep, that has to go in the show notes today." It's just a nice way to end the show.
And that picture is from 9 to 5. Am I?
I believe
right?
you are correct. I believe that is 9 to 5, although I could be completely mistaken, because if you give me a picture of Dolly Parton in front of a typewriter, I would think 9 to 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 9 to 5. Which would make sense, because that was a song that was a movie.
That they made a movie.
And then it was a theme song to the movie that I think was based on the song. I don't know which came first, but yeah.
I have no idea either. But I believe that
Which
would
came
probably
first,
be
the movie or the song?
Don't know.
Okay.
Maybe both at the same time. Maybe there's like, we're gonna do a movie, but we need a cool song. We're gonna use you, Dolly, in the movie. Do you want to write the song? And then they worked together and made the movie and the song together. For as far as I know, it was a cooperation.
Yeah, they came out nearly at the same time. I remember when it came out. It was about the same time when both of them come out. I don't know if there was one before the other. I think came out together.
Sometimes you'll have a movie and then the person in the movie will write a song for the movie, which then gets released before the movie, as to drum up interest. But
same thing with Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll probably watch this.
It's gonna probably be you'll get exactly what you expect out of it. I bet you anything. It'll be all right. This episode is called pick your favorite Dolly Parton song. I actually don't know about Dolly. And then it'll be about somebody named Jolene. It'll be we'll see. It's gonna be exactly what you expect out of it.
It'll that's it for the news. About a woman trying to take her man.
All I have to say is if Kenny Rogers gets on it, I'm done.
You don't want a gambler episode?
No, I don't. I'm sorry, I've had enough.
All right. Hey, with that then, why don't we check in with our buddy Big Voice Jay over at the Movie Draft Minute.
Welcome to your B-Team Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of June 4th, 2018. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay. The only reason I do this is to distract myself from the fact that I'll never be Beyonce. Never! Let's go to the scoreboard. Team The Bod Squad is enjoying the arcade in the lobby, still waiting for their first film. Team Walking Drunk is in 5th place with $46 million. Team Movie Party is in 4th place with $308 million. Team Ritual Misery is in 3rd place with $367.5 million. Team Game Night is in 2nd place with $396.7 million. And running roughshod over everyone, once again, it's Team Have a Drink with $724.5 million. That's your Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of Wednesday, June 6, 2018.
Well, yeah. Hey, so you guys, when are you going to get out of last place? That's what I want to know. I know you're going to finally be on the board after this weekend.
Next weekend, that's it. We're going to first place all in one.
All right.
That would be amazing if we could get $300 million out of
$1
Hereditary.
billion.
And $400,000 out of Ocean's 8 on the opening weekend. That would be amazing. Everybody's like, remember how you felt when you saw Avengers? I feel like watching 2 movies this weekend of completely different kinds. Yeah.
So everybody between the age of 20 and 25 is going to see that movie this weekend.
What movie?
I don't know, just one of the ones.
Hey, I saw Action Point. It didn't help anybody. I saw that last night.
So to get out of last place, all we have to do is get more than $46 million. So we'll very likely, with 2 pretty, one kind of a sneaky horror film that might do well, and one probably pretty well, a pretty good movie for out of Ocean's 8, we'll probably do pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's very probable that we'll bust 100 million with those 2 movies this weekend and move into second to last place.
Right.
Yeah.
And, so this weekend did anybody listen to Cord Killers this week?
What show?
It's a show about kind of cutting the cord and
wait.
How you
they like copied us?
Totally copies. Those guys are copies.
They
of us.
copied us like 7 years before us.
Right.
Isn't that the show that's like something like what Frame Rate used to be?
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember Frame Rate.
Frame Rate. Yeah.
That was on the network that shall not be spoken.
It's a newer, better version.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The next generation.
Okay, gotcha.
So, anyways, they had our competition on as a guest star there. They had what is Keith? Where is he? I think it's Keith. What is his name? But from
Kermit?
From Ritual Misery. And anyways, he was on there, and they actually talked about us and our little game of show.
Well, it wasn't a throwaway. It was,
Right.
oh yeah, us and the VOD Squad.
I know.
But he had to throw in game night because his girlfriend is helps me with the movie party, so that one would definitely had to be in there. But
well, anyways, it was mentioned that the tiny URL I had on there was not so tiny. So there's a new URL, everybody. If you wish, you can go to tinyurl.com/bteamdraft18 to see and it's all lowercase, to see our spreadsheet. And I've also done a little bit more updating. We now have a weekend top 5 on there. It'll show you how the last weekend went. Speaking of last weekend, we have to talk a little bit about Solo.
yeah, let's go back to normal screen then. Yep.
You really wanted to have Solo be a kind of a second weekend secret hit, and I don't think you got it.
Nope, and it's a shame because I went and saw it. It's the first Star Wars movie I actually enjoyed. And I think that is the problem. Because
That's right.
when I like stuff, it fails.
Clyde, you shouldn't have gone see it.
I will say, it actually cleared something up for me. For the last 30 years or so, I thought the Kessel Run was a race.
Oh, no.
They always talk about this Kessel Run thing. I just figured it was a spaceship race.
Yeah.
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 You could think of it that. That's pretty obvious misunderstanding.
Well,
That's
I mean, nowhere in any of the movies did they ever explain that it is.
It was always in the extended
It's just
universe
a thing that they throw away, and it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed it, and probably for all the wrong reasons. That Space Skirmish people would hate me for. But yes. Yes, and that's what I refer to it now as Space Skirmish.
Yeah.
All encompassing of all those shows.
I think it's interesting because I absolutely loved it. I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I loved it. And there are several people. My wife has seen all of the Star Wars movies, but she wouldn't consider herself a fan. She enjoyed the original shows. She feels like they're kind of goofy and campy and silly now, and she watched them far after they came out. She watched them actually after the prequels came out, and so she's kind of one of those people that, like, she was never a fan, and when she got to them, she enjoyed them, but she didn't think they were she felt they were very dated, and without the nostalgia factor, she didn't see the real value in the shows. I think they're I'm one of those people that maybe I can't separate my nostalgia factor from reality. I think they're genuinely good shows in and of themselves. That said, I really enjoyed this show. It's one of my favorite Star Wars films. And I've heard that from a lot of people that I consider to be major Star Wars fans. So this isn't just a movie where people that don't like Star Wars or people that are new to Star Wars or whatever enjoy. It's everybody that I've talked to likes this movie. I'm completely dumbfounded by how poorly it's doing. The only explanation I can give is this is probably the biggest movie year we've had in decades, maybe ever. And there are so many huge blockbuster titles coming out this year on series. And by that, I don't necessarily mean that the movies are going to be huge, but there are series and properties that everybody knows and is familiar with. And there's a little bit of fatigue from that. It's not even been 6 months since the last movie came out.
Right.
Yeah.
We got this. I feel like people are just not seeing movies to the level that they would otherwise. Like, if this was the only thing coming out this summer, the only big movie or one of the.
But you also remember there, even though every year they say this is the biggest year, blah blah blah. But there's one thing that is completely different this year than every other year up to this point is so many people have Movie Pass, so they're going to movies regardless because they can't pay for it, or they don't have to pay for it, which is what the only reason I even saw it. And I from when I'm out and about, I complained like last week or the week before that it's become nearly impossible for me to go out and see a movie because when I like fairly empty theaters, and the theater that I really like, I used to go there because it was always empty. Now it's packed all the time, and everybody's got a Movie Pass. So you know, so I mean, I don't know, and I think maybe people are just waiting. So it'll keep. I think it's going to keep earning money over the next few weeks steadily. It's not going to be a $600 million movie, but I think it'll clear to 250 at least.
Yeah.
I think it'll pick up some steam when the kids get out of school and that kind of thing. They'll go see it when they get out of school. Right.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a longer game for that movie, but
I will likely see this movie again. And also, but well, I just want to contest the one thing that you stated about Movie Passes. I mean, while Movie Pass does have that effect, it is still such a small percentage of the population that has access to Movie Pass. It's like they have like 1.5 million subscribers, so that's not going to make a measurable impact across the entire United States.
So looking at the numbers, Clyde, it looks like you're actually in a pretty good shape because you've paid so little for Solo.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be fine. And also, I went back and looked at your other stuff that you've been going on here. Book Club? It's made that 50 million.
I'm not worried. I'm going to
there.
get second place. At the very least, I'm getting second place. I'm fairly confident in that.
You're doing pretty good. It's up to us to sneak in from behind and figure out.
You might want to rephrase that.
Maybe I should. That's okay. We'll let that lie.
You are going to lose. I won't say any of the other things I was going to say because at this point, anything I say will be taken incorrectly.
It's now a title suggestion.
Don't we have Jurassic World?
We do.
I think that's going to do a lot better than what you think it was going to do.
That's gonna be a big one, and we got it for
potentially
pretty inexpensive.
Yeah.
So
saving my money for that one. It'll be good.
Okay.
So
I just bought the Jurassic World 1 on Amazon because they had a sale for like $5 or $6 or something for the HD version of it, and I hadn't seen it, so I was like, hey, I can buy this, and then I can go see the new one when it comes out in a couple of weeks and support my team. Maybe I'll go see it 5 or 6 times.
You didn't mean to say Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah. Isn't that what I said?
You said Jurassic World.
Oh,
well, it is Jurassic World Fallen
But
Kingdom.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Right.
The original movie was Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
the
it was.
original was,
Right.
yeah. All right. So, should we move on? All right, guys. What the heck you got on your mind?
I should spend the next 5 minutes talking about how awesome Solo is and telling everybody they got to go see it, but I won't.
Oh, I think you should. By all means, I will. we can do this like they do in the House of Representatives. I will
You're gonna filibuster.
yield my time to allow you to speak more
Mr. President.
about that.
Mr. President, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. But instead, I'll actually mention the 2 shows that I'm watching right now. I mentioned one of them, Arrow, last week. Watching the new season of Arrow on Netflix, which got there like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Have been enjoying that quite a bit. And then I got to an episode that did a crossover with The Flash, and I realized, oh crap, I'm like 2 years behind on The Flash, and I don't know what's going on in this episode. So now I'm catching up on The Flash and remembering that I love that show as well. So DC makes great TV shows. I don't understand why they can't make even slightly decent
It's
movie.
because they make decent TV shows, just like Marvel makes good movies, but they make terrible TV shows.
Terrible TV shows. You can only do one or the other. Apparently, it's just completely
which
impossible.
is why I've been saying for a long time that Fox needs to just make a Fantastic Four TV show, because they failed at making a movie how many times?
3.
There you go.
Yeah, so obviously it's not working on the big screen. This is a small screen kind of thing. So
Actually, I could see that, and I could see that working really well.
absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just so again, I'm super busy all the time, and I really don't spend a lot of time watching any television. So I've been spending a lot of my time, when I have spare time, playing video games for the most part. But I did watch one show that we came across. You guys know what the History Channel was originally all about, right?
History?
Yeah, the History Channel, when it first came out, was basically mostly World War II stuff,
Wait,
right?
it wasn't like meaning the history that's inside that storage unit?
No.
Or the history behind the plastic surgery on that lady's face?
No, it's not like that.
Oh.
Or the strange thing that says sold at the pawn shop. No, none of that stuff.
Oh.
Or the weird car that somebody rebuilt, in a weird way. None of that. No. My wife and I discovered a show called Hunting Hitler, which is a show basically about the idea that Hitler really didn't die, but he ran away into South America, in particular
it
Argentina.
wasn't like
and-
home footage of him going out like hunting?
no.
He was.
Well-
This wasn't Leader Hitler. This is Hunting Hitler.
So
He's walking through.
we started watching it, and it was the kind of a show. Okay, we'll put this on late at night. We used to watch these kind of shows every once in a while, and goodness sakes, can't stay awake. Keeps falling asleep to it. It's just like old History Channel did to us. It does the exact same. It's just like old
Are
times.
you convinced now? Have you been converted to one of the paranoid?
No, I have not, because I have not seen enough of the episodes, but I do watch it and go, that's interesting. And
Well-
I do know that there were people who escaped.
I'm going to show my age here. I have watched this show. There's 3 seasons of it, and I've watched all 3. And
He watched him in prime time.
but I started watching them probably kind of like what Matt is talking about, right? Like, oh, yeah, what is this? Some weird, like aliens gonna, coming down to Earth or something like that, right? And but when I got to watching it, they actually make a pretty good case, right? I mean, they. I don't want to give everything away because people may want to watch it, but they pretty much debunk the story that we've all been told that Hitler committed suicide in the bunker and that kind of thing, because they never
It's
did
too
find a body.
convenient. Yeah.
They never did find a body. And there's
He was
there's
put
other
in witness protection. We all know that. He was actually the beginning of the witness protection program, from what I've heard.
well the things that we do know is that there were other higher up Nazis that migrated down to Argentina. They had a fascist regime running that country at the time. Later, Paraguay and even Chile also had fascist leaders that were these fleeing Nazis sought protection. So that it's an interesting story. I mean, if you like that kind of thing, find it interesting. I enjoyed it, and like it, and it does. I wouldn't say they make a foolproof argument, right? But they make a
Compelling
Yes.
argument. Yeah.
a compelling argument. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because occasionally the History Channel is on. Like at my work, we have a couple of TVs like in the break areas and stuff, and it's always, to me now, the History Channel is it's aliens and supernatural.
Right.
It's all the alien encounters and the mysteries of the ancient world, where they talk about the magic of the pyramids and how the aliens made the pyramids and stuff like that. But,
Hence what I thought this was going to be, right? I thought this was going to be that, but actually it's not. It's actually pretty interesting. Also, too, if you subscribe to Hulu, like I do, all 3 seasons are on there.
cool.
Yeah, I believe that's where we're watching it,
Yeah.
too.
BioCow points out that Hitler is his accountant. So apparently the show is true.
Nice.
Could you imagine if you lived today and your last name was Hitler? There
Yeah,
are some Hitlers
There
around.
are. There are.
Change your name.
I saw there. Oh, I shouldn't say this live on the air. Never mind. Remind me later in the post show. There's
All right.
a name at work.
Jimmy.
And then for me, I will just keep bowstring the show that I talked about last week, which is Billions. I'm all caught up. Well, I'm through the first 10 episodes. There's an 11th episode that was released that I have not watched yet. But, man, what a great show.
What do you think of the Russian guy?
Oh. Can I say the actor's name?
I was going to say, did you recognize him?
Oh, right away I did.
Yeah. It was cool to see John Malkovich show up.
Yep. He's one of my favorites, and I tell you, he plays. You know, he's one of those guys that can get into character and do just about any accent that you can think of and make it believable. Right? I mean, he really does a good job. You know, there's a bit in one of the episodes where he tells a story. Right? I'm not going to say anything about the story he told, but the way he told it and everything just, you know, made you believe it. I mean, just a very good actor, and the show is just well done. It's just a well done show, and really enjoying that show.
I last night I stumbled across a new release on Hulu, a Hulu documentary. I've been getting sucked into these things lately. It's called Too Funny to Fail: The History or the story behind the Dana Carvey show. Oh my God, it was probably the funniest thing I have watched in forever. So it's all the people that were. Does anybody remember the Dana Carvey show?
Yeah,
When he left SNL, he decided to do his own sketch comedy show on ABC.
Yeah.
They put him right in the empty spot right after Home Improvement, which is going to be All the Eyes. And they failed spectacularly. But I found out, because I never watched it. I was off in boot camp when that show came on, or I was started in the Navy. And I watched the documentary, and it was some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. And the crew was people that, like, it launched the career of Steve Carell and Colbert, Stephen Colbert. Louis C.K. was one of the writers. Robert Smigel left SNL with Dana Carvey to do this. And then there was a dude that was like a writer on Seinfeld, which was the biggest show at the time. And he saw, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So he quit that show to go write on the Dana Carvey show. And I watch it. It is so funny. It is. And there's nobody attempting to rewrite any history. It's flat out, yeah, we did that. We were idiots. Would we do it again? Probably. And they kept going, and they do like step by step from the creation of the show up to the demise of the show and all the way through, and it was absolutely amazing. And I recommend everybody go out and watch it. It's called Too Funny to Fail: The Dana Carvey Show.
And I must answer M. Bean's question. No, John Malkovich was not playing Hitler.
I think he was asking if
No.
Hitler
He asked who
was
was
the actor.
playing the Russian. I said, did you recognize who it was? And he said, was it Hitler?
Oh, okay.
No,
I
Hitler
thought
was
he
not
saying-
playing the Russian.
I thought he was, yeah.
And all right, is that everybody?
That's it.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody for hanging out. If you're watching this after the fact, we record live every Wednesday here on Twitch, 9 p.m. Central. This is where the fun is. Just a reminder, afterwards, we need to head on over to tvs.showbot.tv. I can't remember that now for some reason. Oh, it's probably because BioCow's in the chat, and it's his wonderful tool. But yeah, head on over there, vote for your titles. Just a reminder, if you want to reach out to us, you can reach us at the VOD Squad on Twitter. And MBeam did a little poking around on thevodsquad.com, so you might want to go over there and check it out, because Matt apparently didn't notice.
I did not notice. I know.
And I mean, don't forget to hit those like buttons, subscribe buttons, follow buttons on the different platforms. We're here. We will be here next week. We will see you then. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this